Welcome to another weekend here on the platform. It is our tradition to examine developments in the polity, and today will be no different. My name is Sam Omasheye. Every election year, politicians enact plays of intrigues that hold their audience, the electorate, spellbound, especially when it is quite a few months to the new year. This time, the Ruckus is in the National Assembly. Members of the National Assembly have been busy. The whole place has been a boil outside the National Assembly, but inside, quiet. But they have been doing it not in the interest of the people, but for themselves. They failed to reconvene this week to address pending issues such as funding INEC's 2019 election plan. Rather, senators of the ruling All Progressive Congress have been holding meetings with party leaders for a concrete plan for Bukola Saraki's removal. While the PDP has rebuffed their moves, insisting the APC does not have the majority to actualize its impeachment plot. My column this week is titled The Figurehead and the Figuring. And the second piece, Safer, the Man of Letters.
Men in black, hooded like goons of robbers, eyes pop as though out of the dark, mute ominous guns like growls about to be heard. Gates on lockdown, lawmakers cannot cajole but holler in vain, a dawn on dawn. It was not a building complex that was under siege, not the brick and mortar of the National Assembly. It was our memory. The fired DSS director, Lawal Daura, harked us back to our jackboot days. Do you remember June 12 and its many sieges? The siege of the press, the siege of the labor union, the streets as blood pedestals, the arrest of dissenters, the cacophonies of clampdowns, smackdown on fragile voices. When you lay siege to a memory, you lay hold on the people's future. So, that morning, when hooded men cordoned off the lawmakers' access to their chambers, we were reminded that our democracy operates still without self-confidence. Behind it stood shadows of hooded men. Daura was, perhaps, a chief hooded man, more hooded than the muscular presence that morning. We saw them. He hid in the shadows. You will not see him and leave. We had seen it long ago, his defiance, his sense of primitive entitlement, his patrician airs, his disdain for the rule of law. The media cried, the civil society wailed, the law squealed. Daura's ears could not hear. He did it with the dollars in Nigeria's most famous apartments. He was stung by an onslaught of judges. He bifurcated the presidency. He became both the executive and legislative branches. He became the dispenser of religious justice to El Zakzaky. He roared in steely silence to the courts by keeping Sambo Dasuki on the leash. He probably had read or heard of a French philosopher called Montesquieu, who gave the world the doctrine of the separation of powers. If he had heard of him, he had contempt for him. Hence, he acted as though the government is one lumbering bully of a monarchy, where the people account to the rulers. Hence, he bypassed his bosses and acted in cahoots with Saraki over the nomination of Ibrahim Magu as the EFCC boss. He had no regard for the concept of a secular state, even when the constitution is unambiguous in that sphere. So, he treated El Zakzaky as though he manipulated Islam, thereby suffocating the secular commands of the law. August 7 was only an emblem of his serial contempt for the higher principle of democracy. What he did first was to take a full measure of his bosses. He saw he could get away with insolence. We all saw on television as the female lawmakers screamed in a hysteria of rage and righteousness against the hooded men. They neither flinched nor assailed her. They planted their feet, their eyes unfazed, their guns unstirred. They knew all she could do was rant. Her voice would expire, her muscles would mellow. That was how Daura behaved. The civil society would scream and media would rage, but Daura did what Daura would do. Of course, until the reckoning. It came hours later when acting President Yemi Osinbajo whisked him out of office. To those who first heard it, it was as though they dreamed. Daura probably thought that Osinbajo was a figurehead, and he, Daura, a figurine in the sacred grove. The figurine inspires worship, trepidation and veneration as the symbol of the gods. No one eyes the statuette, not to talk of touch it, a sanctuary unto himself. But the so-called figurehead Osinbajo knocked off the divine figurine out of the grove. The figurine dropped and broke into 100 splinters. How are the sacred fallen? Questions have been raised about Daura's collusion with the PDP folks. Some have even said that the APC folks had met and the PDP men were there early to overthrow an attempt to impeach Saraki. The interim report from the Inspector General of Police has not answered the questions. Is the IGP a fellow traveler and partner in impunity with Daura? Capable of a believable report? I doubt it. First, what were the lawmakers who usually traffic in absenteeism and often never show up at all or show up in late morning and afternoon doing very early in the morning? If the DSS men were there to stop the PDP men from frustrating the APC men, it clearly is not true because they were not inside. The APC has not the numbers to remove Saraki, and any such meetings will make no sense unless the APC plots of a kangaroo session, which will be unconstitutional. So, whose interest was Daura serving? Was he acting alone? It still baffles many why Daura would want to embarrass his own mentoring figure, the president, especially when he was out of town. If he wanted to do in Osinbajo, he had his comeuppance. What is obvious is that the vagrant was allowed too much elbow room for too long to foment nuisance. He should not have been allowed if he was not endorsed. He had already done so much havoc and thrown the administration into defense mode. The case of Jones Abiri hangs over the government still. Even the NUJ and the information minister had been caught in the web of authoritarian lies. It is not over until a new atmosphere of rule of law prevails. It is then we shall know whether it is just Daura's Stone Age volition or whether others buy in who have not freed themselves from the impulses of the barbarian. Osinbajo would not have fired him if he cleared from him. We need to get to the bottom of this. Saraki Eleimi has denied any hands in it, but his name has figured because the former DSS chief seemed to have cooperated with him more than Buhari in the course of his disgraceful stewardship, but no evidence. So the charge makes little sense. Daura has gone, and I hope he has gone for good. He held periodic meetings with editors and acted as though he was a feudal lord, talking in contempt as though he owned the country. I had told some of my colleagues that if I ever attended any such meetings, I would have been walked out after giving him a piece of my mind. August 7 should never come our way again. It was a caveman's moment in our democracy. What Joseph Conrad calls a night of first ages. Matthew Seifa, who replaced Daura as DSS chief, was my classmate in Government College Ughelli, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear of his new posting. Nothing about him made us think he would end up as a Secret Service mogul. To us, he was a man of letters. He was perhaps the best student in the whole class of September 1973 in English. He wrote clear, elegant sentences with an eye for images and ear for music. I recall his essay published in the school magazine, The Mariners. It was titled Gaiwe, an Incessant Cankerworm. It was an essay I read many times in those days for its beauty and message. The term Gaiwe, as he put it, entailed extremely immoral acts and described the guys as social misfits, never-do-wells, the most undesirable persons who were in the wrong place at the wrong time. He also said they had no place in civilized society. Seifa earned A1 in English at school certificate and no one could expect anything less. With the benefit of hindsight, I should have seen the Secret Service in him. He was a cheerful and dignified introvert, a lethal virtue in a Secret Service person. From his essays, we also could have gleaned his social conscience, The guys, Seifa wrote, were antipodes of revolutionaries. One of the images of him was when we were preparing for school certificate exams. The introvert walked up to the blackboard and wrote, "Barely 3 weeks to exams, boys still unprepared." He verbalized it with an impish smile.
Public affairs analyst Ahmed Abbas is me here. He joins me to analyze political issues that Nigerians are talking about. The rumblings in the National Assembly is getting louder. It appears members of the National Assembly are busy with impeachment plots rather than reconvening to attend to pressing matters abandoned before their recess. Welcome to my show, Mr. Abbas.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
The drama has been happening with senators, and also members of the House of Representatives, especially the senators. But things are happening outside the chambers where matters are supposed to be resolved. What is going on?
The more you look, the less you seem to understand in the Nigerian political scenario. For me, the drama ongoing is actually not new. It's not new because the entire political experiment of Nigeria so far can be summarized in one word: comedy. Vast majority of Nigerians are losing faith in the system. Every day by day, you see people, young men, professionals, trooping out of this country because they do not see serious governance. They do not see serious governance going on. Neither do they have a sense of direction that things will get better. Because every day by day, you expect your leaders, whether in the National Assembly, to be giving a sense of direction to the nation. But they are quagmired in the pursuit of self-interest. It has always been a drama about the political class. The only people that have benefited from this, our enterprise called Nigeria, has been the political class. Ask an average Nigerian, what have you benefited from your country called Nigeria? The honest truth is that people do not even have a sense of belonging. People are trooping out every day by day.
Yes.
I'm telling you, professionals are running out. Yes. Even non-professionals are running out.
Everybody I know somebody who is trying to go or who has already gone.
If you see how many people are applying to migrate to Canada and all the rest of them, because
Canada has started to shut its doors.
Yes, Australia. Because the environment is suffocating. You are not expanding economic and social opportunities for Nigeria.
And we are helping to feed the nativist hysteria in Europe, America, and
South
Australia.
Africa. Yes.
Yes, the nativist hysteria where people begin to say, we don't want them, we don't want them.
Go back to your country.
Okay. Thank you very much. We've had Abbas, who has been very, very engaging in this conversation. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure.
The big talk this week is with Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. It is spoken about so many things. Very engaging conversation about his predecessor, his projects, the activities of the federal government. Welcome to this show, sir.
Thank you very much.
You say that you've been in the saddle for something like 3 years now. How would you sum up your stewardship so far?
Well, thank you for that. Well, I would say in just one sentence that it's very expensive, very good, very challenging, but worthwhile. When you're serving your people, no matter the challenges, you feel happy that you're given the opportunity to serve. I would say that it has not been easy, but we have made some remarkable successes that people can see and know that we have not disappointed our people. So generally, it's been very fruitful.
Recently, you undertook what was almost a month of commissioning. How was that experience? It was an experience in which some people said you even politicized it. that you brought people from different places to come and commission and so on and so forth.
Sometimes when you talk about what you have done, people say these are television talks, these are newspaper talks, these are radio talks. So one of the things you should do is not just you saying what you have done, but bring prominent Nigerians to come and see for themselves whether all these activities that are shown on television houses are being carried out by the print media and radio houses, whether they are actually true. And irrespective of the political divide they belong, if you watch during that period of commissioning,
yes,
traditional rulers were involved, former heads of state were involved, governors were involved from the two political parties. Members of National Assembly were involved. Judiciary was involved. So it will be difficult for you to say, it's just politics that are playing. Take for example, we built the industrial court, National Industrial Court here. There was no industrial court in this state. It was the National Industrial Court of the Future was approved. But the former governor did not give attention to it. So they moved it to Bayelsa State. And 80% of the cases that are in that court emanate from the state. So when I came on board, I said, look, it's not necessary. How can we take the risk from here going to Yenegua, the financial implication, and the kind of inconveniences litigants and counsel will face. So I told the president of the National Industrial Court that I was going to build an industrial court that would be here so that to save our people from going to Bayelsa. 80% of the cases. And within 7 months, or we'll take it 1 year, even though it was completed a record time of 7 to 8 months. But the time of commissioning, the time of confidences for those who will come. So the CJN commissioned it. The Court of Appeal, if you are a current visitor to Port Harcourt and you go to that Court of Appeal, you will cry. For us, it's our own contribution. Like the Federal High Court, we built the Federal High Court. And it was commissioned by the former Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Auta, but now retired. And we said, if we have done this, even though they are federal courts, but who are those who benefit? There are people who are from the South and people who are in the state here. And we have said that we'll make Rivers State as the judicial hub of the South, knowing that the oil, this is the center of the oil industry. So it means that we cannot allow, if we wait for the federal government to come to our aid, it will not be possible. So we use our own funds and wrote to the President of the Court of Appeal. As a state, we cannot allow our courts to be like that. And she said, okay, the state can give support. So what we tried was to total remodeling it. And the CJN came. So it's not something anybody will say, oh, it is not true. You know, the politicians, they always tell lies. Yeah. So those at the head of affairs who are in charge of the judiciary came and saw it. Again, look at the cultural center. It was started by my predecessor, but was about 30% done and was abandoned. And I said, look, yes, do I need to go and start a new cultural center? Part of the problem we have in governance is people not being able to complete projects started by their own predecessor. Everybody wants to say, I am the one who started this. To me, that is not. That's why sometimes you have white elephant projects that all about.
Yes, sir, but when you were doing the commissioning, your predecessor was saying that the projects you said were your own were actually his own.
well, you see, first of all, it's not his private funds. 30%, should I have abandoned it? No. The owner of Ife came and commissioned that project. The Trans-Amadi Road, which was awarded by the previous administration by the cost of 47 billion, was awarded in 2009. I came in 2015, 6 years after, to Renal Construction Company, RCC. And what they had paid then was about 12 billion out of something big. And people said, how do we do this? I said, well, this is a major route and it's an industrial hub of the state. We cannot abandon this project. We are paying RCC every month for our current generator 1 billion naira. Every month. So we paid over 20-something billion to RCC. So if we could come for 20-something billion to pay, will somebody now say that, oh, it is a budget and we're almost completed when we have not less than 20-something billion to pay?
Okay. So you're saying that, well, they might have started some of these projects. You either reject them,
yes,
or there was so much to be done,
yes,
that you had to take over.
Of course, you cannot allow the community to suffer. But the point I'm trying to make is that I couldn't have brought a former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, to commission a project that was not in existence. That's the point I'm trying to make. The Speaker of the House of Representatives came to commission Abolaba Woji Eleniwo Road. I remember when this state hosted the Guild of Editors, they came and took inspection. They told me, you cannot do this. It was not awarded by me. It was awarded by my predecessor. And it was, I called 30%. The contractors have abandoned the site. It was a breach. In fact, if you don't have the money, you wouldn't even want to continue with the project. So the Guild of Editors who came, went there, led by the President Funke, they said, look, how can you say you compare to get the money to complete this kind of, to do this kind of project? I said, don't worry. God willing will do it and will invite you to come. When MB had their general conference in 2015, I took members of the NBA, the President General, then Alege, and the new man, Mahmoud Mohammed. They all were with MB, members of MB, went there. They said, this is not possible. I said, well, I will invite you. To the glory of God, Dogara, Yakubu Dogara, came and commissioned it. So for us, those ones that have direct impacts on the economy and the lives of our people, we said we must continue, whether we are awarded the contract or not.
What of the monorail?
Yes. Now, you see, that's why we are saying, assuming now, when we came, we said, look, I called stakeholders meeting. What is the monorail? Where did it start? How many kilometers? 1.5 kilometers from Agri Road to UTC. What is the purpose? When I was in government as chief of staff, we opposed that. But see, people have this mentality. I'm the one who brought this concept. I'm the one who brought this. So many of us oppose it because it's of no significance. Where are you carrying passengers from to where? But when we looked at it, the government had paid a whooping sum of not less than 54 billion naira. And I called the contractors. And they said, well, I looked at the number of about 30 billion to complete. I said, no, I cannot do this. To put 30 billion naira in a project 1.5 kilometer, no. And I called the stakeholder and said, no, it is not important for now. I'm sure if we had even taken the risk of looking for money, they would have said, no, it was done 99% as usual. So that people can now come and see this one, whether it was done 99%. So for us, those ones that have direct impact on the economy and the lives of our people, we said we must continue, whether we are awarded the contract or not.
So you're saying the monorail as sort of a white elephant?
Of course, I mean,
but it cuts across town.
Which town to where? That's what I'm saying. From where to where? From Agri Road to UTC. There's no traffic. You have the secretary this way. So even if you want to come over to carry passengers or workers to work, the monorail will not stop anywhere there. It will pass the secretariat down to UTC. Then you still have to go back. So it doesn't make any sense to us.
You were chief of staff to Rotimi Amechi. People still wonder. A chief of staff is almost like the blood brother of the president, of the governor. How did it come about? Because there have been some stories. It's good for you to say it in your own words.
Well,
what happened?
I don't know. I've told people that I cannot really say. Everybody, you know, like in the system, just like what's happening in the country today. There are those in the system who want to aspire some people or want to do some people and would think that, oh, if this person is pushed away, you may have the opportunity to. So, you know, something like that, whatever thing that happened, and probably the leadership or the head bought the idea. So, I don't want to go into, they said this, they didn't say that. But the point of the matter is that, for me, there was no need of what happened at all. But it's like when you're a leader, you must understand in the system. You must avoid this gossip.
Gossip?
Or that can destroy a political team.
I mean, there was intrigue.
Of course. Well, you may call it intrigue, but you must be careful. It's not like what we're talking about, what's happening in Nigeria today. What we're talking about in the government of Buhari. This person is smarting this person doing this, all those kinds of things. And before you know it, that may bring down the system.
So are you saying that because you were away from this, you were away from rivers, you were in the center?
In fact, part of the reason for me not to be able to push me away, that's the point I'm trying to make. No, let him not be here. If he hears that you have so much influence, push him away.
Try to really reconcile to say, look, this thing they are telling you, it's not true. Did you ever
everything was done. Everything was done. So many prominent people. But like you know, when people have decided what to do, and you know, when people believe that whatever they say, I mean, that's what will happen, and that whatever you decide, that's what will happen. So you don't abandon yourself. You don't abandon yourself, okay? You look up to God.
Since you've been here, it has become something like tit for tat between you and the transport minister. And then some time ago, there was this real show of power in rivers, where the vehicles of yours and that of the minister met, and it turned out that probably both of you were not in the vehicle and so on. Is that a reflection of two strong people holding a state to ransom?
Again, that tells you people can be power drunk. Impunity. You know what protocol is all about. When the governor's convoy is coming, the expert riders are in front. That gives a signal that the governor is coming. They move in front. And then when it's at the junction, they stop for all vehicles to stop, that's for the governor's convoy to pass. That was what happened. But being in federal government, having soldiers with him, having federal SARS with him, they refused to obey that. And that was the crisis. I was at the back. I didn't know what was happening. It was when the vehicles were no longer moving that I asked what is going on. Then my orderly came down and went outside. Told the transport that he hit the express riders down. That was the process. He drove by himself. Like I said.
He, meaning Rotimi Amechi?
Yes, he drove by himself. With the soldiers and the police and the rest to show federal might. That was what happened. You know, impunity, people forget protocol. You are no longer a governor. Somebody is a governor, whether you like it or not. What? In this case, no, I will not obey. After all, we are in power. I will not listen. That's what happened. And, like, you know, they will complain to the federal government. What did they do? Nothing. It's the same impunity we are talking about.
You said there was a plot to bring federal might to impose APC governorship in Rivers, in Delta, and in Akwa Ibom. Where did you get the facts?
But I mean, without giving to now, it's very clear. It's very clear. Even when they went to Ekiti, the secretary were saying it. Now we are done with Ekiti, in Rivers.
Well, Ekiti, there was no show of force.
You wouldn't say so.
There wasn't evidence. They said everywhere was calm. The allegation people made was that a lot of money was changing hands.
No, but that does not mean that. I mean, we also watch on television.
Yes.
Well, voters were on the way. Oh, but of course, when it was scattered, I don't get it.
Yeah, but most of it was calm.
No, but at least that does not mean that nothing like that happened. No.
So you expect that?
No, for Rivers, if you see, even when APC, when they talk, when they make statement, even from the president, you know that they will tell you, we must take Rivers, we must take Rivers. I don't know how they will take it if not by force. If it is by people voting, I don't think we'll have fear. Because something you must also ask, there must be something you will show to the people of Rivers State why Rivers people should vote for the party. In the 3 years of governance, what have Rivers State benefited from the federal government? There's nothing. Is it the international airport where he landed? Is it the East-West Road? Is it the Onel Seaport and Port Harcourt Port that they have killed? So there must be something that will entice the people. Is it they're going to clean up that has been finished? And the people are drinking good water now? So there must be something, you know, like I say, it's not every time you come and tell people like, the only way, and they know, is by force. If it is by the people voting, we can go home and sleep with our 2 eyes closed. So if they can come and tell us, Rivers people, these are the promises we made to you. 1, the employment. 2, the naira will be equal to the dollar. There will no be insecurity. We will fight insecurity last. The airport will be standard. In fact, it will beat Atlanta Airport. Onel Seaport will be the busiest. Port Harcourt Seaport here will be the busiest. Which one have they really actually? It's not to bring sentiment, abuse people. Practical. Let them tell me one that's working.
So, what will happen in 2019 if, as you have suggested or predicted, they want to bring federal might to Rivers?
Oh, you know, the people will resist.
How would they resist? How do you resist?
How will you not resist?
How would they resist federal might?
But why would you resist? They did it in National Assembly. People resisted. You saw a Rivers girl, what she did. It's a Rivers girl. You see, you must know that people...
How would they resist? Would they resist with arms too?
But don't have arms. But if that means you killed everybody, so be it. We don't need to go and carry arms. But if that's why you want to kill everybody, so be it. You see, so many things are happening. Police invaded the assembly in Benue State. And the president said they will not support anything that's unconstitutional. Yes, so what has happened? But now the SSO has happened. You took him out. Fine, but I cannot be deceived by that. It's an internal politics that's going on. And not because they wanted to take that action to show that they are serious in fighting impunity.
Against rule of law.
Against rule of law. Look at EFCC. What can be more impunity if you are saying that SSS invaded National Assembly, which is an arm of government. What can more impunity when an agency will show that a tier of government, of a federation, to frozen the account of a state? What coup can be bigger than that?
They've denied it.
Denied what? How can you deny that? So that is why you see me in the system. Today, you are punishing the DGSSS. Now the EFCC do what they are doing. And I can tell you the target is not those states. The target is against River State. We know. I've never seen a system that believes in impunity than this government. This state government in 2016 went to court against EFCC under Dr. Peter Obi. And the court gave judgment that you have no business with the financial transactions of a state. You have no business. It is the State House of Assembly that can query the financial transactions of a state. The money of River State is not federal government money.
It's River's money.
It's money that was shared in the federation account. Federal government took their own money. River State took their own money, like other states took their own money. You cannot come now to say you are investigating the financial transactions of the state. And the court gave the judgment. No, it's unconstitutional. EFCC filed an appeal. As I speak to you, EFCC has not been able to set aside that judgment. They want an appeal to show you a government of impunity. And thinking that they will use that to distract us. EFCC have been, instead of that court judgment, and which they want an appeal, and they're not able to set aside, EFCC have been writing letters to inviting government officials to come and give us. We said, you cannot do this. There's a judgment against you, which you have appealed. Go and set it aside. No River State government official will come for you to interrogate. Not that we're afraid of anything, but you have no such power until you set it aside. So they've been going around and around and around and around and around. And the Attorney General has written a letter to him, attaching the court judgment, written to the Attorney General of the Federation. What is impunity? What we're talking about, this is the highest impunity. You don't obey court judgment, you don't agree to anything. So now you can see.
Now, we have also said that, some people have said, well, Wike is saying now that, federal government is trying to come and take over and so on. But when he was in the center, that's what they did to put him in office.
That's not a lie. But they did a rerun. Who won in the rerun? You see, if we have lost in the rerun, then you would have said, okay, yes, why would they not have lost? They imposed them that. They saw that for legislative rerun, they sent 40,000 soldiers. Legislative rerun. I know what happened. Even if you see the court, we know. The security agent, they will tell you. They will tell you. You see, we have a rerun on the 18th of a state constituency seat in Port Harcourt. Let's do the election. People have this assumption. Of course, in 2015, the media was part of those that brought this government into power. Yes, people were the ones. It's not hidden. You are the ones who wrote all kinds of things against the last administration. You are the ones who said that there should not be removal of subsidy. Even when there was just mere partial removal, you took to streets. Now, they said I removed entire subsidy, nobody said anything. Even though that is not correct.
No, people have said.
Who have said? Why didn't you go to the street like you did? Why didn't you go and occupy Nigeria like you did? Yeah, but it's unfortunate. That is the country, that's where we are. But somebody here was selling stories to all of you. And there's no way they will know when they are saying that is not correct. Sometimes you people should go on your own private investigation. Ask questions. Ask questions. This one government house you have conducted any military. We don't need it. We go to most government houses, military. I don't need it. You see, the moment you are home with your people, what's the fear? I'm not saying that we're overconfident. No. No. We were saying that if democracy is, let the people decide who it will be, I think we should say that we'll be comfortable. But from what I'm seeing, from what this government is coming up with their party, they are not prepared for that. Their own is do it, it doesn't matter. Let us head to the court. Of course, they always tell you they will intimidate the judges. How did they intimidate them? They come and write one, oh, we saw 100,000 in the judge's account. Come and explain. And the judge will withdraw. I won't do the matter again. We know all these strategies.
So you're saying that it's government by blackmail?
Of course, that's what they're doing. Just look at the party they went to. Akwa Ibom yesterday. Oshomole said, voted the government that looted for 16 years. And Akpabio shamelessly was standing. Akpabio was commissioner for 6 years to 8 years. Atta was governor. Akpabio was governor for 8 years in Akwa Ibom State. So he was in government for 14, 15 years. Out of the 16 years that Oshomole said they looted. And he was standing by your side there. so you can see.
Was that the Freudian slip?
That's what you see. And you know, for some of us, you know, they think they can deceive Nigerians that way. No, who's interested in that?
Now let's go to PDP. The PDP was in crisis for quite some time. It was you and also Governor Fayose trying to bring things together. And part of the reason was that some people said, well, Governor Wike had his own agenda, had his own governorship, presidential peak in his mind, and divided you against some other governors and so on. Well, there were court cases, and some of them have come to an end. You guys are coming together now. Do you still have your own favorite? Because some people say, well, you have been very close to Tambuwal. You are the one pushing Tambuwal as the candidate.
Okay. I was also the one who pushed him to leave PDP when he was speaker.
That was before.
No, you see, the problem people have, people don't know how to keep the relationship. People don't know how to keep the what? Relationship. He was speaker when they took over the functions of the State Assembly to protect their friend, the former governor. He was not my friend then. Now, when we were in court, we said, look, allow us to use ourselves. He said, no, the matter is in court. I said, what? There's no injunction against us, so it doesn't matter. He said, whoever that wins at the Federal High Court, they are waiting for judgment of the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt. When we won, he and the IG refused to open the place. They said, Sheriff has gone and appeal. They refused us to use the office. When Sheriff won, they went and opened the office. We said, but we want to appeal. They said, it doesn't matter. And I said, look, this is not going to work. What you are doing today, you have shown your hand that you are merely causing crisis in PDP. And that will come back to your own party. My father used to tell me that he who makes peace, or who wants to make peace, should open his door. If you make peace, peace will come with you. If you don't make peace, trouble will come with you. That's what peace is suffering. Until we won the matter in Supreme Court. What happened? Sheriff had joined them. The same people who are saying that, oh, how could we go and bring Boko Haram, this and that and that? They have taken the same man whom they said, oh, not I. They said. They've taken the man now in their party. Right? Now, they thought PDP would have splitted. Now, during the convention, everybody has interest. What is my interest? Like any other person's interest. Who is going to unite the PDP? And I have no apologies to anybody. South has been the home of PDP. You can't tell me that we will work for the party to grow, and then when it comes time, you say, oh, let's give to the other people so that they can be strong. How? And my prediction has come right. Today, if we did not bring Uche Secondus, it would have been a different thing. I know what APC would have done.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. They would have penetrated the party, they would have finished us. But they cannot penetrate Secondus. It's not possible. They know. It's not possible. Now, they have seen that PDP has bounced back. It's become a major threat. Not just a threat, a major threat. Forget this propaganda. You see them, they are not worried. Who told you they are not worried? They are not sleeping. How can they say they are not worried? You are not worried. You have been running around 24 hours meeting people who don't defend, don't do this. You are not worried. But today you are not worried. In the history of Nigeria, to have not less than 30% a day defend from a political party, say you are not worried. Then something must be wrong with you. So as I speak to you, Tampa was my friend. Should I deny him? McCarthy is my friend. Why are they not talking about that? Slow Lamidi has been my good friend. One man who believes in PDP. Yes, as Tampa declared that he's running for presidency. Bukola is my friend. So? You see. So because I have a friend, therefore, I'm disqualified for supporting anybody.
No, you have your right.
So why are they saying Wike?
They were saying so because they say Wike is trying to make sure that the PDP that emerges is his own version of PDP.
Those who say that Buhari should emerge, he said, today are they the owner of the government? People just, those who are saying that, when Buhari emerges, that they will have taken over the government, have they taken over the government? Those who are not politicians are those who will make such statements. Can one person impose a presidential aspirant on anybody? Well, how many governors are now? By the grace of God, now about 12, 13 governors. So how can you take one governor will impose? People try to cause disaffection among governors. Before Secondus came out, every governor agreed. Every governor agreed. If anybody tells any contrary, it's unfortunate for the person. Every governor agreed. So it is not correct that they're wicked. Okay. Well, there may be some people, I have no apology. If I'm supporting you, the whole world will not supporting you. I don't need to come in the daytime, then in the night I'm doing a different thing. I won't do that. Tomorrow, if I take a decision, I'm going to support social presidential aspirant. It will not be hidden. So what is that to hide? I mean, it's my right. But in this case, I have not. But some people are just doing permutation. It's not. To tell you that Nigerians are not good politicians. Every presidential aspirant I invited here for commissioning of projects. Atiku was there. Sule Lamide was there. McCarthy was there. He has come to Sweden commission the project. Now, and all of them stayed. Atiku stayed. Sule Lamide stayed. Tambawa stayed 2 days. They said, because why should Tambawa be his own 2 days? Why do I want 1 day? But they forget that McCarthy stayed here 1 week. So when I told them McCarthy stayed 1 week, they said, okay. Look at how Nigerians, look at how they did their own news. So you can see how people do this everything. So Dogara stayed here. Bukola left the same day. He came the same day and left the same day. Probably if he has stayed, they will say, you see, PDP has come to stay. It's a party, Nigerians have. What will APC now offer? What change? The change of EFCC. Tell me, look, just like why, with all due respect, it doesn't make sense to anybody. We know what is on ground. How can the government will say, oh, PDP people are thieves, are rogues? The next day you received another PDP person. You are receiving rogues, armed robbers. You are receiving rogues, armed robbers.
But if a big fish from APC comes to PDP, you will see them too.
Wait, no, first of all, those who are PDP people.
But they left you.
Of course, they thought where they are going to will be better. When they go, they say, these are lions. They say lions. They say, no. These lions will consume us. Let's better go back to our home.
But they had greed for power too. That's the point, that there's no sense that people are only interested in whatever group, it's like a football team. You get anybody who can help you win. It doesn't matter whether there's anybody.
I don't think that was the case. The case was that they felt, look, there was some problem in PDP, they alleged impunity and this. But when they now got to APC, the impunity was something else. I said, no, we can manage this one than this.
So you agree that both parties have problems for Nigeria?
No. Human beings have problems. Who are those who head the parties? Not human beings. John, I was talking about police and the rest. Are they not human beings? So, but it is not running away that will solve the problem. The point we are trying to make that you as a party, who have told Nigerians they are bringing a change, positive change. Why do you come back to say, oh, it's not what people did last time? For example, assuming, though not considered, that PDP did that yesterday, and which was why the reason you gave, why Nigerians should not vote for PDP. And now Nigerians have voted for you. It's not of you to correct that which you said PDP did. You are worsening the situation. So the people say, Haba, let me better go back. I prefer this than this one. That's what is happening now. There is nothing mentioned where I have, and I challenge any of them. I don't like to say in Abuja. And that's why I told you, let them challenge me. The resources that have come to River State, what have you done with it? How many of the APC government have just sent EFCC to?
Some say that there's problem with salary payment in Rivers.
Salary payment? Which day?
Some people are...
You say we are always salary, so people should...
Nakuku was on this show to say that he's doing salary.
Please, we are not talking about houseboy politicians here. Please, we are not talking about somebody who says, I'm waiting for my godfather to say when I will run, I will not run. We're talking about serious politics. Has any civil servant come to say that they will own their salary? This is August. We are paid up to July. When I came, I inherited 6 months' salary. I paid. What is he talking about? No, let him, okay, he is Nimesa. Let him tell Rivers people. It's not just coming to television to say that, oh, I've spoken. We're not talking about houseboy politicians. That's not what we're talking about. Serious minded politicians. Politicians who have some at stake, who are committed to serving their state. Yes. He's in Nimasa. Let him tell us one thing he has brought to River State. I was the Minister of State. I was. I brought Faculty of Law to the University of Port Harcourt. Today is there. I gave 500 million grant to Kemps Polytechnic. The same thing to Ignition University of Education, 500 million. I built and innovated most of the schools as a Minister of State Education. Let them tell me from their own way or whatever, what university have benefited, down to so-called the master. You can go to television, let it be that I'm talking. If you did not say it here, I won't even bother. I'm not talking about houseboy politician. If you know you want to be governor, come out and run as governor. Not that you are waiting for my boss to tell me when to go. That's what is killing Nigeria.
Well, we can go on and on and on and on and on. Well, we have had the governor of Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, as our guest in one of the more spirited and interesting interviews on this show. You're welcome to be on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching the program. You can catch up with my published columns and articles on my website, www.samomashaye.com. Also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SamOmashaye. And enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, be good.